Okay, cute. Love.
Hello everyone, welcome to my Paris Study Abroad vlog. My name is Sarah Gronwall. I am a third-year advertising major at Bowling Green State University. As my major is within the School of Media and Communication, when I saw they were hosting a 2-week study abroad to France, of course I applied. As a little girl, I always imagined going to the Eiffel Tower and walking around the Palace of Versailles, so this was seriously such a surreal experience for me, and it felt like I was fulfilling some of my childhood dreams. For a little context, me and 12 other students, as well as 2 faculty advisors, took to France together after a semester-long class preparing for our trip to Paris. I will not lie to you, the 8-hour flight to Paris was a little bit rough, but when we landed, we ended up just walking around the neighborhood and getting reoriented before our welcome dinner. Throughout the trip, we had a lot of free time to do whatever we wanted, so the next morning we took the bus to go to a local Sunday morning flea market. I bought a little silver ring that is now a staple in all my outfits, and then I took the metro to the 8th arrondissement to visit the Dior Gallery Museum. If you are thinking about or planning a trip to Paris, I would highly recommend buying your tickets beforehand because there is a long line if you do not and you are just in the waiting queue. However, I did have pre-purchased tickets, and this museum was everything and more to me. I like to think that I have a semi-good taste in fashion, so seeing all these core exhibits was so amazing. One of my favorites was when you first walk in and you look up and just see a rainbow exhibit of Dior for days. After that, I took to the metro again to go to the La Marais district to do some sightseeing and some eating. Seriously, all the food I ate in Paris was some of the best food I've ever had. Something I will not forget about this trip was our excursion to visiting the Paris City Hall. With this, we were able to talk with the Deputy Mayor of Paris about how they handle things such as press releases, managing communication strategies and social media, and learning about some of their current initiatives and projects. We even got to visit their main room. We then went to Bouille Moi for lunch, and it was delicious. When in Paris, you shop, and that is exactly what we did after lunch. I ended up buying so much stuff after the trip that I had to buy a second bag to check so I could bring everything home. Of course, we also had to visit the Louvre. It is just such an iconic spot of Paris with so much history and culture. I got to see one of my favorite paintings, which is The Death of Marat, and also got to go to the groundwork floor, which shows parts of the original museum and groundwork. In the beginning of our class this semester, my professor told us that Sabrina Carpenter would be performing at the Accor Arena the same time we were there, so I bought tickets. And not just any tickets, pit tickets. Sabrina is one of my favorite artists ever, and getting to see her live in Paris, France, which has been one of my dream countries to visit for the longest time, was absolutely unreal. Not to mention, I usually am in the nosebleeds for concerts, and this was my first time ever having floor tickets. The next day, we went to an arts and crafts museum where we got to see different cultural pieces of Paris, as well as some different spy gear. And inevitably, we found our way to Notre Dame. This was another planned excursion that we have, and we were able to talk and hear from art historian Ileana Casacara, who was called to help in the restoration process following the devastating fire, to learn how cultural preservation is handled in their communication channels. Hearing from her first-hand experience was incredible. To finish one of our nights there, we took a dinner cruise around the Seine River. We saw beautiful views, government buildings, and of course the Eiffel Tower. Throughout this whole trip, we had a wonderful tour guide with us, Sanjay, who told us so much about his own experience living in Paris, his involvement in working in different media and communication fields, and it was so incredible getting to hear from him as a local. Every place we went, he was right there with us, and one of the places he took us to was the Palace of Versailles. Seeing such beautiful artwork mixed with such deep cultural roots was breathtaking. Like, look at the ceiling, for example. Incredible. While we were walking around the palace, I even saw a swan for the first time, which I thought was so cool, but I learned is actually quite common. But it was still awesome to me. Then I walked around and explored the arrondissement and even stopped by a local park for some fresh air with one of my good friends, Olivia. I say this with full honesty, this whole trip was straight out of my Pinterest board. I saw a man drive up in a topless car just carrying boatloads of flowers. All the students that went on the trip decided that we wanted to have a picnic at the Eiffel Tower, so that's what we did for dinner that night. Something about seeing the Eiffel Tower that close and seeing it sparkle could make a grown woman cry. This trip consisted of lots of metro rides, and we took the metro to go visit a school tour, as well as an advertising firm here, Hopscotch. At Hopscotch, we got to learn all about their successes and involvements in advertising for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. We then took it upon ourselves to go visit the Musée d'Orsay. Personally, I loved looking at all the artwork, but something else that I loved just as much was watching everyone else look at the artwork. People watching, especially in high traffic areas like this, is just so much fun. To end off the night, me and some friends went to a jazz club. Fun fact, the award-winning movie La La Land actually filmed here. There were such good vibes here. Our next planned excursion was a trip to the United Nations Education, Science, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. The United Nations has designated 2025 as the International Year of Glacier Preservation, and we were among the first student group to witness the dialogue and opening speech by the director. We then had a marketing session with our travel agency and then headed off to an Eat With dinner experience. If you like to travel, I would highly recommend looking into Eat With. It is a global platform that connects travelers and locals for a unique, immersive, and authentic culinary experience. We got to enjoy our dinner with 2 other guests from Scotland. To finish up our last few days there, we did some more shopping in La Marais and even ran into a pop-up street concert. So much fun. Lastly, we also visited the Musée de l'Orangerie. This museum features some of the water lilies by Claude Monet. When you sit at the booths, you're supposed to see the lighting change as they would as the flowers go throughout the season. After 2 beautiful weeks in Paris, France, it was our last morning there. It was a foggy morning, and my roommate and I decided that we were going to go look at the Eiffel Tower one last time. Shout out to the boat that is called the Seine Princess. After packing up, it was time to head to the Charles de Gaulle airport to head home. Hot take, but I really do love airport food. As I reflect on this trip, it truly was the most incredible experience with the best people, and I have so many new memories to cherish forever. Thank you so much for watching. Au revoir!